Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome into the Money Stop late night episode coming your way, fresh from Charlotte. Um, I don't know how fast, you know, we were just in North Carolina maybe like an hour ago, so I don't know how we got here so fast, later, and especially with the trophy, but uh, nonetheless, we are here. And we're gonna have a little bit of a shorter episode tonight. We know it's getting late, so we're not trying to interfere that much with people's time. Um, but something that we want to get to is the points, and we want to talk about tonight's race, and just, I guess, kind of because we can't have an episode next week, unfortunately, with both of our availabilities. But I mean, we'll talk about the race tonight, and just kind of going forward, what it looks like from here on out. So first, let's touch on the race tonight. So there's a trophy in the middle of us, and I feel like at least Laner, we're filling the spot every episode, which is good, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the goal, right?
Yeah, I know. Um, I I'm very happy that the 44 was able to come through with the win. It's just it's kind of crazy to think that our team swept the crown jewels this season. Out of any races that we could have won, we were really proud of this one, especially. I haven't been to Charlotte in a while. I think the last time was like season two of Rocar or season three. Well, season three it moved tracks, so I think season two was the last time that I've been there. Um, and it was on a completely different version and a completely like different car. So it was definitely a lot of adjusting tonight, I would say. We definitely did not have the car, I guess, to beat in the beginning, because we, you know, we did not know what we were going to have. And I know Laner, you had talked about like how your team was kind of hanging in the back until the end. Because you guys won last week, so you really
Yeah.
didn't have much to worry about tonight.
Yeah.
But at least for us, I feel like for our team, the point was just to go and win as many points as we could, to go and nab as many points as we could. Um, and that was the goal. And I feel like we succeeded in that goal. But we've just done a really great job all season long, and I can't believe we have 5 wins. That might be the first time in my career where I think I've gotten to 5 wins. So it's just really, really unbelievable to think about. And we've still got a couple weeks left, so I think we definitely have a chance to go win some more. It's definitely possible. Unfortunately, won't be next weekend, but definitely looking forward to more chances to winning. And just a great job tonight, and a way to build some momentum for the second round. So pretty good. Um, Laner, talk about your night. How was your night? Because you kind of had a flip
Uh,
side. So
yeah. Well, like you said, my goal going into the night was kind of I wasn't really worried about points, because regardless of where I finished in the stages, it wasn't going to matter unless I won the stage.
mhm.
And I kind of felt it out in the first stage, and I realized it was extremely hard to pass. So I didn't really want to go out there and start bumping people out of the way just to get a stage win. Just because I kind of feel like it would make me look bad because they're like, oh well, this dude's already locked in. Like, why is he bumping me out? So
Mhm.
I didn't really want to go out there and do all that. But I told myself in the final stage, like, all bets are off because a win's a win and
Right.
playoff points carry over. So also it's a crown jewel. So in the final stage, I was trying to go for the win. And we made up a lot of track position, and we were there at the end when it mattered. Um, I really didn't want to challenge you at the end because, as a team owner, I didn't want to take us both out. and risk the team getting a win. So I was a little bit conservative with that, and I'm glad that you hung on to win. After watching the replay, I do realize I made a really bad block on Land and Jax at the end. And I don't know what it is lately, but I've been making a lot of stupid blocks, so I do want to apologize to Land for that. I don't know if it's the way I have my camera set in the car or what it is, but I don't know. I apologize for that. I did not mean for that to happen. So I'll take responsibility for that. But yeah, it was a up and down night for us. Upset that we didn't get the win, but I am really glad as a team owner that you were able to do it.
Yeah, it was. I would say this race was like maybe one of my more dominating wins. Um, definitely like once I got back in traffic, it was a little harder, like maneuvering my way through the pack. But once I got out front, I was gone. Like nobody could really get to me. And this track is tight as it is. It's hard to make laps around that track. So, a lot of people kind of have to kind of you know uh, BS your way around the track, for lack of better words. But um, yeah, I feel like everybody did that tonight. They just tried to kind of make laps work. Like without hitting the wall, because a lot of the times if you hit the wall, you were going to lose like maybe 10, 15 miles an hour. Um, so it was definitely important to stay off the wall. So a lot of people were trying to stay below the white line, so they could kind of arc off the corner. So I feel like in terms of just the approach to the track, it was definitely fun, because each corner was a little different. Like you never approach the corner the same, and then you add all of the other cars around you, and there's runs, and there's blocking, and you have to try and pass. So I feel like I had fun with the racing. Uh, what was I gonna say? I think the worst part for us was like when we got sent down pit road, because I thought my race was over,
Yeah,
because the leaders caught me by the time I came off pit road, and I wasn't
that's when
sure.
you almost went a lap down. That's what
Mhm.
you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I'm eating.
Well,
Um,
luckily, it seems like every stage required a pit stop, and we can kind of get into the controversy a little bit later about what happened in stage 2 with Jax and Kyrgyz, but every stage was supposed to require a pit stop. Let me say it that way,
yeah.
because you couldn't make it to the end on one set of tires. So yeah, that was definitely a scary moment.
Yeah.
But I think at that point in the race, if you went a lap down, you probably would have got the lucky dog. I think.
Yeah, I think we would have, no doubt. But it's the fact of like trying to not go a lap down so you can stay on the lead lap and you don't have to go all the way through the process to get your lap back.
Yeah.
It's annoying. So like I don't really like doing that. So I was trying my best to stay on the lead lap. But I mean, yeah. Um, like you said, we can touch on some of the other stuff in a couple minutes. But yeah, I feel like just in terms of the racing tonight, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, and
No. Yeah.
I feel like as a crown jewel, the race itself really stands tall. Like uh, it's a very well put together race. Like the pre-race aspect, and just like the goal around the race. Like we're obviously racing for a crown jewel, but at the end of the day, it's like racing for the fallen on Roblox. I guess I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a fun race to be a part of. Very long, but yeah, nonetheless, it was fun.
Yeah. I the racing this season was a lot better than last season at Charlotte, in my opinion. And tonight almost kind of felt like a multi-groove race to me. I know the top wasn't usable, but the way the car would get tight in the middle of the corner, it would make people like using all 3 lanes of the track. Like we saw a lot of 3 wide, 2 wide racing tonight. If you got up top, you were pretty much done, but it did spread things out in the corners, which I think made things a lot more interesting than at most intermediate tracks. So I really liked that aspect of it, and I thought this season's race was much better than last season's. I will say though, the race didn't really feel that long to me. Um, I don't know. Like to me, it really just felt like a normal race. So I don't know if maybe next season adding like 25 more laps. I might. A lot of people might not like that idea. Just because it's so dependent upon how many cautions you get, how many red flags and things of that nature. But I thought tonight was a really clean race and it went by pretty quick.
Yeah, I think another part to that, like if you did add laps, um, I feel like you know, maybe the reason you felt it was just because of how short the stages were. Um, I wouldn't be opposed to extending it either, just because I think that it is a crown jewel. I think honestly, all of the crown jewels should be longer laps. Um, but like the times should be adjusted. I think the time we started at was perfect. I don't
Yeah,
think we should be starting at 8:30, 9 o'clock for crown jewels, just because.
they're longer. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I definitely think that they should be longer. But it makes them like the reason I'd make them longer too is because it makes them more meaningful. Um, you're not just sitting around to do like 150 laps per se to just get a trophy. This is something that's added onto your resume for when you're retired, and um, it's definitely another thing I can click off now. I think that's another crown jewel I've never gotten before. I think so. Um, you can always at least look back on your career and have a decorated tier of races that you can say you won. Um, but I think yeah, I think we should definitely maybe like consider extending it if like it didn't feel long. To me, it felt long, but I was out front a lot. I was doing my own
Yeah.
thing, so I don't know. I wasn't really concerned with like what was happening behind me. Just trying to do my best to maintain my position. Um, but at the end of the day, I think it is a league management decision. Um, I think, because we can't really say how the schedule making process is going to go this season, but, um, I will say that at least like league management should uh, play a pivotal role in making the laps and, like maybe should consider tampering with some laps at different tracks and stuff. But yeah, I definitely think that the racing and this track was a lot of fun tonight. And I don't know, I might run it next season. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Um, I enjoyed it. It was a long, long race, but I enjoyed it. Um, I think we should move on though, if you have nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else for that.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna spend a couple minutes talking about the points. So these points have just been released. This is like maybe like 20 minutes ago that these were put out, or maybe 30 minutes ago. So these are the points leaving Charlotte and going to the Canada Oval. Mind you, Canada Oval is an elimination track. And look at the cutoff line. Wendigo and Lego are
Um,
+1 and -1. Um, I don't like that. I'll just say that right
yeah,
now. I would not want to be those two drivers, or even Jax, or even Craigus. Um,
yeah, any of them.
yeah, all I gotta say is good luck. I gotta say good luck
Yep.
because like Land now that Land's in, I don't know if he should push the issue next week on trying to win the race. If anything, I'd be more concerned about with trying to get your teammates into the next round because knowing that Aiden and Lego might be there and have a chance to win as well, I think you, as somebody who's already locked in, should be focused on trying to get them in. It is possible to get both of them in, but the question stands if you can get both of them in because of that gap being so close. So, would I like to see Land win another race next week? Yes, because the past couple weeks have been rough. But do I think he needs to win? By any means, no. Um, I think he should definitely change his outlook on next week. You know, I really I really think like us three at least, um, do not need to worry about winning. Like we should not be up there in the conversation for winning next week. If the opportunity presents itself, then that's different. But you know, like dominating and leading laps is like unnecessary if somebody else like really needs the points. So um, um, yeah, I don't. I'm not really sure, but I think somebody else should win that race.
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily agree with the not winning thing because at the end of the day, playoff points are still valuable and they will carry over. Um,
True.
but in terms of like going up there and dominating, I'm on the same page as you. Like tonight, I just wanted to let everybody that was fighting for points battle it out. Like I did not care about being up there. I didn't want to be up there, and I feel like just as a courtesy, if you're locked into the next round, maybe just let those guys battle it out at least until the final stage. Um, but for Land, I don't know. Like as a team owner, I know Aiden's not on his team, but like technically, I'm pretty sure they consider that car just another GFM car. It's kind of like 2311 with JGR. So I don't know. I don't know if Land should help anyone because no matter what, someone on the team's going to be upset. If he goes out and helps Aiden win the race, then the cut line moves up, and then one of his teammates is eliminated. If he helps Jax or Wendigo win the race, then Aiden's upset because Aiden didn't get his help. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like, if I was Land, I wouldn't help anybody. Like, honestly, I would stay away from that. But yeah, man, the points are really close, and it's still. We thought we would have a good idea after Charlotte. That's what we said last episode, but now we have even less of an idea than we did after last week. So
Yeah.
it
I don't
is
know.
very possible any of these guys could get eliminated.
Yeah. I don't even know like if our picks are safe anymore. Honestly, I think at least like Aiden, you can make a pretty safe bet on being out about. Like unless he wins, he wasn't really a factor tonight. Um, so I like he won the poll, but from the drop of the green flag, he had issues all the way till the end of the race. So
Yeah.
how that team bounces back next week, I don't know. At a track like the Canada Oval, we've talked about how crazy that race is. I don't know if we can make the case for him making it out of that 22 point gap to the cut line. Um, so is he out? I think it's pretty safe to say. Now, Lego, I wouldn't be so sure about because, Jack's got above him, but, Wendigo's right there. If Wendigo has a bad stage one or a bad stage two and Lego can outpoint him, then it really just comes down to who can outpoint one another in the final stage to get through. You know what I mean? It's really going to
Yeah.
just be like who can score more.
You know, I I don't know, man. I feel kind of good about Lego moving on right now because Wendigo and Craigus have something going on. I don't know what happened between them tonight. I don't really care. not to sound rude, but I'm not going to get involved in other people's drama, and
Yeah.
I don't care to take sides in it. But I visibly saw it from my cockpit, and I've seen some replays of things that happen. Like I said, I'm not here to take sides. I don't care who did what. I'm not going to act like I do care. That's between them. I'm just acknowledging that there was beef on the track tonight between Craigus and Wendigo. So the question is that going to be fixed before Canada, or are those two going to be running into each other the whole race? Because if they're running into each other the whole race, they could very easily cost themselves a playoff spot, and Jax and Lego are the ones moving on. That's just something that I think about. I don't know what's going to happen, but Craigus missed out on a lot of points tonight. So did Wendigo. So I
Well,
don't
I
if
mean, go ahead.
I'm like I don't know. I think that Craigus actually did move up, right? Because he was, or maybe not. I don't know. But
Um, yeah, he did.
okay, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. And for Jax, I feel really good about him. If he just does what he's been doing, he's gonna move on easily, in my opinion. So the ones I'm really worried about are Craigus and Wendigo. And Lego's just going to need to run the race of his life. He's going to need to perform amazing. And if he does that, he could very easily move on.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too because last week Wendigo was in fourth. He lost 2 spots this week, and now he finds himself maybe being out at the end of the race next week. Um, we just had him on the show, and he said that the goal was to get to the next round and get to the championship four. Um, I wonder if that team is going to change their outlook. Being so close on the cutoff line. I know, in situations like this, a lot of teams don't change their outlook. Just whatever happens, happens, and if they don't make it through, it's not meant to be. Um, but I wonder if they change their outlook just considering the season that they're having. I mean, they got 15 top tens. They're tied for the most top tens. 6 top 5s. They got 5 stage wins, and 13 playoff points banked. That's. I mean, he's had a pretty good season just without a win. Um, so I mean, I wonder if that team will change their outlook on anything. Just something I'm pointing out.
Yeah, you're talking about the 19 group, right? Wendigo?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't kn- like. I don't know. I feel like that team has always been very aggressive. That's kind of just that's the way I view that team. They're always aggressive on restarts and during the race. And I don't know if I think being aggressive is the way to go this weekend for them. Um, just because being aggressive can put you in a bad situation. And for them, they really just need to run a solid race, stay out of trouble, and get points. He doesn't need to go for the win at all. Like if it presents itself, then yeah, sure. But like he doesn't need to be pushing for the win. He really just needs a solid day, and he'll be fine. It really all he needs to do is worry about staying in front of Lego and not letting Aiden win the race.
Yeah.
That,
And I'll say this about Lego. Lego needs to put his foot down. I think, like the rest of the season, he's just got to stand on business because if he doesn't stand on business, then it looks like your season's over. Um, I feel like, Lego is moving to SSR next season. And one thing that I'm going to be personally doing is getting him ready to be a championship contender because I feel like right now that team is not in a championship contending spot. Um, you know, they had the chance to make it through, but even if he makes it through, it's going to be an uphill battle to make it into that top four. There's only going to be, like, realistically, we're only talking about 2 spots. There's only going to be 2 spots. And over you or Kragus saying he makes it in, or anybody that makes it into the next round, you know, those points reset. So I don't know. It's time for him to put his foot down as well. You know, he has the chance to make it through, um, and he's gotta definitely put the foot to the metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's gonna have to go out there and run maybe the best race of his career.
Yep.
Luckily for him, Canada is a track I could see that team having a legit shot to win at. Like I expect Lego to run up front this weekend. I could say that for just about anybody in the field, but this track is a track that team can run well at, and they could have a shot to win at. Um, so he's just going to have to go out there and run an amazing race. He can't have mistakes. He can't miss out on stage points. If he misses out on stage points in one of those stages, it's pretty much done, in my opinion. He's going to need to run up front all day or win the race. But
Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to cover with the points?
not really, no.
All right. Well, good luck to everybody next weekend because it's going to be very interesting. This thing just got 10 times more interesting. Um, so good luck to everybody next weekend with the points and who will make it through. That's the big question. Um, that will have to be decided in Canada. So we're gonna touch on a couple other things tonight, and this is strictly, you know, coming from our opinions. This is not the opinion of a race car driver um, on Roblox. Remember that. Um, it's just what we think is like our personal opinion of kind of the elephant in the room. You know, we know tonight was a good race in terms of the racing, but you know, there's definitely a couple things we have to address. So there was a controversial moment again in the race tonight, which I don't even know at this point why I'm calling it controversial, because it's gone on every week now. Um, there are moments like this every week now, unfortunately. So, um, but we had a moment in the race tonight where, uh, well, there was two incidents towards the end of the race. Um, there was a few drivers frustrated with the way that just the end of the race was handled with the cautions um, and kind of the last minute calls. I'm being very tiptoey with my words because um, I know it's a touchy subject, so I'm just trying to kind of watch what I say. Um, but I think that a lot of people were upset just with how the race ended, and unfortunately, this is a part of racing. You know, like how these races finish are how they finish. You can be mad all you want, but you know, at the end of the day, somebody's still taking the checkered flag. The race is still ending. Same thing goes on for last week. Like obviously, very different situation. Should have ended differently, but you know, at some point the race has to end. And if there is something that happens during the race, no matter what point that you know, like it's deemed uh, unsafe to keep racing under green flag conditions, then a caution should come out. And I'm referring to a crash that happened at the end of the race that led to, I don't know, I guess the final restart. Like it was the cause of that final caution. Not too sure what exactly happened, but and there was a couple cars involved, and Land and I think Wendigo were out to like a maybe an 8 second lead, something like that. I don't know. It was multiple seconds out ahead. Um, that I'll just say that it was multiple seconds out ahead, and we had a crash at the back, and there, like most of the field was in the back around that crash. So I feel like that was a very misunderstood moment in the race.
Yeah.
You know, it was unsafe for us to keep going. Um,
I can actually I was kind of involved in that wreck, so I can kind of talk about that a little bit. So yeah, Landon and Wendigo were like way out ahead. And me, Lego, and Craigus kind of caught up to each other, and we were in a little pack. And I'm not sure if somebody else. I think you were in there too, right? Like you.
I was, but I was on the verge of passing you guys, and then I think you guys wrecked behind me. I think.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't. I haven't even seen a replay of this, so I don't really know what happened. Um, Somebody pushed me, and my car got sideways. I got into Craigus. And then me and Craigus got into the wall, and we were stuck together in the wall. So like, there was no possible way that we could have kept going without, like, I don't know, literally getting lapped, or we were up in the wall stuck. So that's why that caution came out. I'm still not exactly sure what happened because I haven't seen a replay of it or anything. All I know is that we ended up in the wall together, and his car was sideways in front of mine, and there was nothing we could do about rejoining the race. So
Yeah. It's very unfortunate like how it played out because had that caution not come out, there most likely would not have been a caution to the end of the race. I definitely think Land would have won that race.
yeah, for sure.
Because even he had like a 3 second gap to the car behind him as the leader.
Yeah,
So there was no way that he could make that gap up in what was it, like 10 laps. So he had that in the bag. Um, just the way things played out on track, though, unfortunately. Um, I think another thing too that we should touch on is well, I don't know. Was there a moment in particular that you wanted to spotlight? I don't want to.
about the whole race, or
At the end, because most of the controversy was like at the end.
yeah, I mean, there's like a few different moments throughout the whole race. I don't really even know what happened at the end. I was up front with you and Land and Jack, so I didn't see the wreck. Um, I really I don't know what happened. All I know is Craigus and a few other people got into a wreck, and then I guess Craigus was upset that a caution didn't get called. I mean, I like it like you. I don't really want to I don't want to dive into that.
Yeah.
Just because this is right after the race, so people are still upset about this. Um, yeah, I don't really know what to say about that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna touch briefly on the incident at the end too, between Craigus and Wendigo. We had said that they had a couple run-ins um, throughout the race, but on the final restart there, coming into turn number one, um, Craigus got into Wendigo, and I don't know, there was some chatter about this, but I think it was just a racing incident. That's my personal opinion. I think of what happened. I don't think it was anything more than that. Um, just strictly because of the way things played out on the restart. Craigus tried to pass him, and Wendigo did move up. Um, but I think it was strictly a racing incident. And, I think same with. Hold on. Wasn't there another crash? Or am I just going crazy? Okay, maybe I'm going crazy. Was there anything else you wanted to spotlight?
Not really with the ending. No. I kind of did want to talk about the end of stage 2 with Jax and Craigus, though. Um, I'm just gonna say I feel like it's unfair that Jax had to get put down 2 laps. Um, Craigus and Jax both stayed out the whole stage. And Craigus came down pit road when pit road was closed to prevent his tires from popping. Jax did not come down pit road when pit road was closed, so his tires popped and he had to get a 2-lap penalty. But Craigus didn't get any penalty at all because I guess he got sent to the back. But like, I mean, he came down pit road when pit road was closed to prevent his tires from popping, but he still finished second in the stage, and all he had to do was go to the back of the field. I'm not blaming Craigus for this. I'm just saying like that rule is just so unfair. Like I really feel bad for Jax because Jax abided by the rules. He didn't pit when pit road was closed, and he's the one getting punished 2 laps for it. While Craigus pits when pit road is closed, and he doesn't get punished. You know, so like the person that follows the rules is the one getting punished, and the person who breaks the rules is the one not getting punished. Like I said, that's not Craigus. Well, I don't know. Like I'm just saying there needs to be a rule about that because it's not fair. If one of them is going to go 2 laps down, they both need to go 2 laps down. Like I just feel like that's kind of cheating the system.
Well, I feel like the rule itself is self-explanatory, but I feel like there needs to be a red line drawn. There needs to be more of a clear outline on what that looks like. You know, like where specifically you should indicate that you have to pit or on a certain lap. Obviously it's 2 to go, but that can be adjusted. That it doesn't have to be 2 to go. It can be adjusted. But yeah, I definitely think there's a little bit of wordplay going on. Like, there's just not a clear line of what the rule means. You know what I mean? So I think the rule itself is good as it stands, but when there's not a set in stone rule, specifics, and details, people will find a way to break that rule, and we saw that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna say pit road is closed with 2 to go, then pit road needs to be closed with 2 to go, meaning no cars can pit with 2 to go. Like, if you pit, I don't know, like maybe there should be a rule. If you pit with 2 to go, that's a 2-lap penalty, the same as blowing a tire. Because if people are gonna pit to avoid blowing a tire when they know they need to pit, then they should get penalized the same way as someone who stays out and blows a tire. I mean, I feel like that's the only fair way to do it. Because I don't feel like one penalty should be less severe than the other one when they both basically did the same thing. One of them just decided to stay on the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, and like we said, it's a touchy subject, and it's still very sensitive, and it's like an hour past the race, so we're very much still kind of getting away from the race right now. So it's just our kind of blunt and honest opinions, as honest as we can keep it. Another thing I want to touch on too was the treatment of time, and I gotta unravel about this stuff, and Laner could go on for days about this stuff because this stuff did not start tonight. It did not start last week. It has happened multiple times this season, and it's just kind of like coming slowly up to the surface, and becoming more public with it. The only thing that I think I'm going to say, and this will be the only comment I make, at the end of the day, we're all still people. We do this for fun. We are not getting paid. This is not, it's not serious. Watch what you say to other people. Please. Like, it doesn't take much to be respectful. This guy is giving his time out of the day to, come on and give commentary and to help officiate the races. I don't know why he's being shit on for trying to do the best that he can. And I've defended him from the beginning about this too. Um, like I've been against this shit since it started, and it needs to stop because I've had it. I've had it with seeing this, and I don't care who literally will call him out on this stuff. But everybody I feel like has made a comment this season, including myself. Yes, but everybody has made a comment this season, and it just collectively needs to stop. Um, you know, we are grown ass men. Well, grown ass people, I should say. Um, Act like it. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, just treat people better. There's no need to treat him how he's being treated with this league. He gives us time to be here, and he doesn't deserve it. Do I think he needs? Um, he does need the proper, uh, I guess, like training. I don't know, or like just guidance with officiating. But I would say, um, it's not being like communicated enough how we need to um, go forward with walking him through those steps. That's all I'll say, though.
Yeah, I fully echo what you said. And it's getting to the point where it's honestly becoming cyberbullying. And I'm not going to go on a rant here, but I'm not going to condone that. I'm not going to tolerate it. Not okay. Like, to say things disrespectfully to somebody on a computer is the same as saying them to somebody in real life. We need to realize that there are real human beings on the other side of these computers that we are talking to, and these people have feelings. Just think about the things you're saying and think about how you would feel if somebody said them to you. If you're really that mad that you just are going to lash out on people, just turn off your computer. Like, seriously, it's not okay to disrespect somebody. And at that point, it becomes more than a Roblox game, and it becomes a personal attack. And I know I'm using very extreme words, but it's like, I don't know, like it's not okay, and you can literally get in legal trouble for cyberbullying. So just for your own safety, just honestly, like, be careful about what you say and what you do. I'm not calling anybody out, but like, the way time has been treated is not okay. And I've tried to be quiet about this for a long time, but like, I'm sorry. It really bothers me. And it upsets me the way he's being treated in front of everybody. Like, if you really have a problem with him, please just take it to his DMs, talk to him privately about it. But like, we don't need to put him on blast, like, in public, in my opinion. So that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. And, I'll remind everybody too, I've said this in private, um, but as a board of director member, we are not the final say. Um, Lego and Craigus have that kind of that power. So, I can give guidance, as a board of director member and suggestions and help, but I'm not going to be the one that comes out and um, makes those announcements and, comes out and is like the big guy. Craigus and Lego are the big guys. I leave the decision making in the end to them. We give guidance on that, and we help try and steer in the right direction, but the decisions are made by them at the end of the day. Um, I wanted to offer some clarification on that because I'm seeing some people talk about it.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the only people on the board are myself, CSP, IC, Lego, and Craigus.
Yeah, it's a very
And
small group.
yeah, and the only reason that me and Icy are even in there for the most part is for development reasons. We do give advice, but like we also created the game, so it's kind of necessary for us to communicate things with Craigus and Lego about new changes on the game and things like that.
Which are
But
coming. We can
yeah,
kind of spill that. There's
there will be some very drastic changes next season.
yeah.
So, not going to give any details on that yet. But yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, it's the board does not have any voting power. We don't do votes, anything like that. So, all we do is give advice. Yeah, I'm not trying to
But
neglect
we
on
also
anyone.
have
Just
discussions too. Like
yeah,
it's like a round
yeah,
table. We have
yeah,
discussions about we talk. We didn't really talk after tonight, but we have discussions after every race. We talk about what goes on after every race, um, and really like how to move forward to prevent stuff like that from happening. Um, that really is like what comes out of our conversations. Um, so it's really frustrating, but you you know uh, how do I even put this into words? I just back to the whole time thing. Just please, have respect for him. Give him your time. That's all I'm gonna say. I know we kind of got off track, but I'm getting ourselves back on track. Um, you know,
yeah,
just please give him some
yeah.
respect. That's it. That's the bottom line. And it doesn't even there doesn't even need to be a rule about that either. It's just the bottom line. It's common courtesy and it's general respect for other people. Um, so that's all I'm gonna say. Um, we're gonna move on
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm not even gonna get back into that because I'm really upset about that whole situation. So I think
Yeah,
it's probably best we just move on.
yeah. Um, I don't even know. Do we even touch on Canada yet, or just like leave it out? I don't know. We usually make an outline before we start our episodes, so I didn't include talking about Canada that much. I feel like maybe we can at least spend a couple minutes like just previewing the race and how much the points will play into it. I feel like at least from like uh, a racing standpoint, like my rate the race percentage is probably gonna be a little lower, but um, I feel like it should still be a good score. I don't know about you, but
For Charlotte,
yeah,
yeah, I would give it like 75, 80%. I thought it was a good race. We don't have a race anymore that doesn't have a controversy in it, so I'm not really gonna let that affect my score. Because that's every week now, unfortunately. That's just the league we live in, I guess, the world we live in, whatever. So yeah, I would give it a 75 or 80%.
yeah. I mean, obviously too, like the racing was good, but what did I give what did I give Kentucky? I think I gave Kentucky like a 55. I'm gonna go with a 70 for this race. I think that like just I think the racing itself was good, um, but I hope and I hope to God that whatever changes come with the car next season, that it oh my God, I hope it spaces things out. Um, I really really hope that it spaces things out. I'm sick and tired of like going to tracks like this and it being one lane and like everybody getting wrecked because things are so tight and you know you the only way around somebody is going under them, finding a way under them.
Mhm.
um and that's like it's so ridiculous, but
Yeah, it's tiring.
yeah. All right, So that was like our little impromptu rate the race, I guess. Wasn't really planned, but that way it's out of the way now. Let's talk about Charlotte. Good segue. Or let's talk about Canada. We don't
Canada.
have, yeah. Let's talk about Charlotte. We just did. Hello. Um, we don't have much information about Canada yet, but I wouldn't anticipate it being any more than 100 laps. It's a very wide track. Like it's very, very big. Um, it- yeah, with the draft, it'll help like speed the laps up, but I think there's going to be a lot of crashes. So I'm anticipating a bit of a longer race. So I don't see it going above 100 laps, maybe even 90 laps or 80 laps. I don't know if it'll be one of those longer races, but we don't really have much information yet, just because this race just finished up. So we'll have to see, just depending on what happens next weekend. But I guess just in terms of like what we're expecting to see, I think just given the points, the first thing off the bat is chaos. Um, chaos is my favorite word. I feel like to use on this podcast and to describe like how the races are going to be. Um, Hopefully, it doesn't end in controversy again for a third week in a row, but I definitely think that chaos is going to be a part of it. I don't know, just like something tells me with the way that the points are set up going into next week, like everybody's going to drive like there's nobody in front of them. Like they're going to be driving like they're on the interstate. And there's seven lanes wide of cars driving, um, and everybody's driving through each other. Is basically what I'm saying. Um, I'm not really sure what to expect. Um,
Yeah, I
it's hard to
I
tell.
don't really I don't really know that Canada is a great cutoff track. I would have liked to see like a short track maybe. Um,
Richmond, whoop whoop.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't raced there in a long time. Who knows? But yeah, it's probably going to be bumper to bumper pack racing. So your guess is as good as mine as what's going to happen.
Yeah, um, it'll be very interesting to see. I think another thing though that I want to point out is I think those that have run at the track are genuinely going to have the advantage, at least for a little bit, like through maybe halfway the race. I think maybe by the end, like people will like get the grasp of the track, but I think those that have already made laps on the track are definitely going to benefit. Also, though, I can't really attest to that because it's a very, very different track now with this car. The acceleration update is going to be a question mark. The just the changes in the car from the last time we've been there are going to be a big question mark, and the new drivers are going to throw in a question mark as well. We've got Craigus and Wendigo, and we've got, um, I guess, you against the field, um, and there's a couple things going on. So I'm not really sure how to spin all that into a cutoff race. So I guess tune in, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really even know that there's much to talk about because throw strategy out the window. Like anybody's capable of winning this race. If you know how to use your WASD keys, you're gonna have a shot to win. And I'm assuming everybody in the field knows how to do that, assuming they've made it this far. So I would say if you are entered into the race, you have a shot to win.
yeah, agreed. It's a race of survival, I think. But I'm gonna stay with my two being out. I'm not gonna make a pick either, because we already made our picks for the Canada Oval. But um, I think those two that I have out, Aiden and Lego. will unfortunately be the two out still.
Yeah, I'm confident about Aiden being out, but man, it's close with Lego. I don't know.
Yeah. If you had to pick one though, who do you pick?
Oh, um, let me look at the points real quick. Let me pull them up. Um, I don't know, man. Here, this might be controversial. I'm gonna go with Wendigo getting eliminated just
Damn.
because this is like his first full-time season in the league. And I don't know how he's going to handle the pressure of being 1 point above the cut line in like, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he can strap in and focus for the whole race and not get into any sort of controversy, because Wendigo has been a very controversial driver this full season, and that's not a knock against him. Um, it just seems like every week he's getting into it with some driver. He's got into it with me a few times, and then this week he got into it with Kyrgyz. So, like, I don't know. I could see it going either way. I'm just saying I have more question marks about Wendigo than Lego, because Lego normally just goes out there, runs his race, and stays out of trouble most weeks. So, I don't know.
And I think it's interesting that we find ourselves in this predicament because these are drivers that had an amazing regular season. Like
Yeah.
accumulating all these points. I mean, yeah, they didn't get wins, but you know, they had an amazing regular season. And now it's like a flip of a switch. You're fighting for your playoff life, basically. I think, yeah, I wasn't thinking about that before, but I definitely am now. About Wendigo. I think, yeah, he's definitely gonna have to make some decisions next weekend. I don't know if he'll make it through either, but I don't know. I think your hot take is nice. That's a
Yeah,
good hot take.
he's gonna have to run the cleanest race of his career. I'm not saying he's a dirty driver. I mean, he normally runs clean races for the most part. I'd say like 95% of the races he runs are like, I don't consider him like a dirty driver, personally. I know some people might, but I think he is very aggressive, probably the most aggressive driver in the field. But I think I don't really know the right word to say. He's just gonna have to go out there and focus, and not let anybody make him mad or anything like that. He's just gonna have to stay calm and level-headed and run a good race. And that's why I'm saying that. I just feel like Lego's always calm. He normally doesn't get emotional. Like, Lego could literally get spun on the last lap, and he would probably, like, I don't know, he might be upset about it, but like, he's not gonna throw a temper tantrum about it. And I'm not saying Wendigo does that either. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? So Lego's just super calm and level-headed. So I just trust him in this situation.
You know what I was thinking too? Is there going to be a single driver out there that's content with being out of the playoffs, or they're going to find something to blame it on? Like if they get
I
out,
think
are they going to blame it on another driver or somebody else, and potentially even try to take them out of the playoffs in the next round?
it it depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Not gonna name names. I will say Aiden is probably pretty content with being out of the playoffs. Just from what I've heard from him, he sounds like he's already accepted his fate. And I feel like, I don't think Jax normally doesn't really show emotion that much, so I think Jax would just be like whatever. Um, so I don't know. Some of those drivers might get upset about it, but I don't really know that it would carry over into the next round or anything.
Okay. Well, some interesting thoughts from us, that's for sure. Should we wrap up? I don't feel like we have anything left to cover on this episode.
Yeah, we meant for this episode to go for 30 minutes, but it ended up being an hour anyways. So
Yeah, yeah. I, I think we definitely needed to have a little bit of a conversation. Um, I think it was definitely needed.
Yeah, and I will just say, I'm just going to put this out there. I know people might not agree with the things we say. Some of the things we say might upset certain people. Just things along those lines. But at the end of the day, like, we're just trying to start dialogue, keep things interesting, and kind of just put thoughts out there. Like, some of these things, they're difficult topics to talk about. You don't have to agree with us. That's fine. We're not forcing you to agree with us. We're just putting it out there. Like, these are things that need to be talked about. It's necessary for us to acknowledge them. Whether you agree with us or not, you can have your own opinion, but it definitely is necessary to talk about some of these sensitive topics.
Yeah, it's a difficult conversation, but it's a necessary conversation to have. When it gets to a point where you feel like it has to be talked about. Up until this point, we haven't really talked about. I feel like anything outside of the racing itself. Um, but it's again gotten to a point where we feel like we need to start talking about it again because, I think it just needs to be emphasized. Um, like certain things need to be emphasized about just treating people with respect and um, just knowing your limits. But brother, what an episode! Oh boy. Okay, well, like I said, we don't have any information on Canada yet, but it will be out in the coming days for everybody. Good luck to those that are racing next weekend. I will not be there. I'll be in Richmond, so you guys have fun with that. Um, Definitely though, like good luck to those drivers that are competing for those final spots. I think you know, no matter who gets those last spots at the end of the day, or who gets eliminated, they can leave that track with their heads held high, knowing that they gave it their all in the end, um, and that's all that they could do. You control your fate, so just try your best to make it through, and if it doesn't happen, it's not meant to be, I guess. But anything else you want to talk about, Laner? Or are we good to go?
No, good luck to everyone next week, and I am personally very excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be watching on the stream, that's for sure. Um, all right, well, you heard it here from us, and it's gonna be a crazy week ahead, leading up to the elimination race. The first of two rounds that we are going through right now. The Canada Oval is up next weekend, and then things kick off the weekend after at Pocono, I believe. Right, we're going
Oh
to
my
Pocono.
god, I don't know, but if that's what we're doing, that's crazy. We're going to like the same track 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. That's for sure. And then you've got Las Vegas and the Milwaukee Mile will wrap the playoffs up, and the championship four will battle it out in sunny Texas. So it's going to be an interesting next few weeks, whoever can make it through. But definitely tune in next weekend when things kick off in Canada. From Laner and I, we wish everybody a great night. Um, and we are getting multiple requests in the chat to. I'm not going to sing this, but
Yeah, I don't
do you
even
do
know
you
what that.
wanna do you wanna do this? Because I'm not
I
singing.
I don't even know what I'm saying, honestly.
They're referring to a verse, a verse in a song. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I don't want to get copyrighted. Like if I play the song. So
Yeah, sorry. Our media guy's telling us we can't.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry
Our
about that one.
our executive producer's saying no at the camera right
He's
now.
yeah, he's
So
cutting us off. He is cutting us off. He wants us to end it.
Yeah, we've got actually 15 seconds, so we're just gonna say have a great night, everybody. We're gonna say have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you guys after Canada, and good luck to those that are attempting to make it through. So, yeah, with that, good night from Laner and I, from a clear but cold Daytona. Have a good night.